What is up? It is Kahari here, and I'm here to make this video on how weed and drugs has held me back in my process. This video is in response to my mentor who I look up to's video, which I'll include in the link in the description. But I thought I'd make this video because it's something that a point that I'm walking in my life, and maybe someone who looks like me or maybe is going through the same thing that I am currently working on can get benefit from this video. So specifically talking about marijuana and weed. Those are one of the biggest things as an African American male that you may or may not struggle with. Me, myself personally, that's something I've been struggling with since high school. And it was something where I deliberately knew that it was something that I knew I shouldn't participate in. But just looking back, in middle school, I loved listening to Wiz Khalifa albums, and his songs are always playing in the car, and it was just cool and it was good music to listen to. But what I really didn't realize is that those songs and messages are being programmed within me and embedded within me to where something I just accepted and allowed and thought was normal. And it's something in our society that we think is just normal or a plant and is not a drug, but it actually is, and it causes an addiction, and it's a physiological addiction where your mind is thinking that it needs it in order to survive and needs that energy in order to keep itself going or to feel good. And it's something where we can easily justify it no matter what. And that's where it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem where you're willing to do anything, it doesn't matter who is with or where you get it from, just asking random people, hey, can I get a smoke? Or hey, you wanna smoke weed or whatever. And it's like a drug, it's addicting. And the truth of it is that, you can't get addicted to it. And it's even hard to say that, but like once you try to quit and face the consequences of it, it's very difficult and it's very painful when you have cold sweats, when you have headaches, when you are sweating profusely, and when you have trouble focusing. You realize the negative consequences are really not worth the high. And I tried many different things. I tried hypnosis, I tried so many different things, but at a fundamental level, unless we understand these words that are the core of everything, unless you have a subconscious, unconscious understanding of these words, you won't be able to really understand what it is, or you really won't be able to change it. And yes, some people have quit without using the process that I'm talking about. And yes, some people can use willpower and just go cold turkey. But I think for the majority of people, we have a misunderstanding of the words that are associated with this problem. And so what I have done is become clear on these terms and definitions so I can understand what it is that I can change it. Because if you don't understand what it is, you can't change it. There's a quote saying, if you knew better, you would do better. And so, yes, consciously you can understand that this is something that is bad and has negative consequences, but at an unconscious, subconscious level, there's still motivation to do that thing. And even if you have walked that point of going cold turkey and sober, that point may not be fully completed and it may show up in other areas. So this is something I'm becoming aware of. And I would highly recommend you check out this video that really inspired me on why drugs and alcohol will hold you back in your process. And that video and a couple other videos that I would recommend if you reach out really open my mind to the reality of the situation. Of the weed is something I would not recommend to people ultimately, and it is something that you can easily justify, and it's something that seems cool, and just looking at all the media and programming around it, it's acceptable, and at the same time it's not. And so it's like, if you participate in this thing, you carry this burden and this guilt of trying to get relief, but also to harming the environment, harming yourself, and going down and going backwards, and just justifying and giving in to ultimately a limitation, and finding out that it suppresses me, it suppresses my emotions, and eventually those emotions just accumulate and have to come out some way where it's not pretty, it's bad, and it's in some type of psychosis or anger, or where you have to go to get treatment, and you have to go to a program like AA, and it gets to a point where you have to be admitted or forced to change. And so that is the thing about it, is that it gets to a point where it gets really bad and really ugly, and you will do anything for it unless you get help. And so I'm here to assist and support myself through this process, using the tools that I'm using in others, and just to stand up and say, this is something that I no longer will accept and allow, and a process that I'm committing to being high off life, to be sober, to live the word sober. And that is something in basic training that I got early on that I really didn't understand, or I can justify of, I use it to feel good, or to get relief, or to stimulate my mind, or you just don't understand. But there's an objective reality when it comes to this point, and eventually that what you're doing, and the negatives of it. And so it just comes to that point of being self-honest, and being self-honest with myself, and what I was willing to do to get that high was just not worth it in the end. And it was very bad, and just not giving as I like to receive, and it's not best for everyone. It's just something I had to come and accept and allow, and it's very difficult to admit that, but that's just the truth of it. So this is something that you struggle with, comment down below or let me know. And just to expand on this point a little more, it also leads to other things where you're just chasing dopamine, where you just want to plug in and listen to music, or watch videos, or watch porn, and you're just being impulse with all these different dopamine hits, and eventually you just start not producing dopamine and relying on this substance, and that becomes a issue. And it just, you gotta get to the point where you just walk in it day by day, breath by breath, and forgiving yourself for that, and having to look at the memories of why did you get started, and all the times that you did enjoy it, and clear up those memories, and accept and acknowledge those, and change, and live a commitment of that, if that what you choose. So yeah, I hope you guys got value from this video. It's been your boy Kari. Peace.